That's where I am in this space I'm in now, to help other people understand how they can take ownership of information, reword it in such a way as it creates a neural pathway in their minds so that they can just go out and just dominate.
How are you today?
I'm absolutely blessed, brother. Absolutely blessed. How's everybody?
Everybody's doing well. Everybody has been anticipating this all across the real estate industry, across the financial world. We've got some mortgage folks. We've got some true fans, some true football fans. And I think that what I'd like to do today is first of all, you know, I came into meeting you through a group that we're involved with, but what many people don't see, and they don't see it today, is the blessed computer. And
yes.
So we've got you on, but my question to you is, what does that mean for you as far as what it means to be blessed? Because a lot of people may think it's one thing based on what they know about you, but ultimately I'm here to support people in my industry by showing and contributing and being, you know, in that abundant space. And it's been a blessing to get to know you. And so what I look forward to you is you teaching people a little bit about what that means for somebody that's reached the levels and continues to reach more levels that you have.
Wow, that's a rich question. It's because it's a lot in it. It really is. When I say the word blessed, so when people come up to me and they ask me how I'm doing, most of the time I say blessed by the best. I say blessed by the best. And so the word blessed comes from that part of me that understands that I have been blessed with fortunate people in my life, specific individuals that have been in proximity for me to have conversations with growing up, specific sport that I was loved to do that kept me out of the streets where some of my friends lost their lives to. So there's things in it that I recognize that I didn't necessarily do myself. I made a decision to go with places or to do things that was presented to me, but I recognize that I'm a blessed individual. So many things that I've been blessed to do, to achieve in my life, that millions of people would love to be able to do. Just the fact, me being blessed to play in the NFL, right? Millions of people would absolutely love to. As a matter of fact, millions would love to just have the key code to come into an NFL facility. Think about that. I didn't say play, just to have the key code to come into an NFL facility to just tour it. People would love to do that. So here I'm blessed to do that for a living for as long. So when I say the word blessed, I recognize once again that it's not just me that has allowed me to be. Yes, I had to be a part of it. Absolutely. I had to make decisions. But the things that are in my life, they're there. I had to make a decision to follow them, to go into them. But it also, blessed also keeps me in a place to recognize every time that I say it, once again, it's not just me. It's not just me. So I also say it like this, that I don't talk about luck anymore. If luck was a person, luck would have a big head right now, because luck would be getting all the props for everything everybody has ever did, right? You're lucky, or that person is lucky, that person, no, blessed. So that's what I use. It's all of those opportunities, once again, were presented for me to make a decision to go down a path further for me to receive what? More blessings. So that's where the significance of blessed is. And I say it all the time. I say it, have a blessed day. I'm constantly talking that people are blessed. So that's something that you'll hear frequently come out of my mouth.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because I know you're a pretty humble fellow off the field, of course. And, you know, there's one thing to be blessed with some talent. There's another thing to be in rare air, and 9 Pro Bowls, NFL Hall of Fame. I've had friends that have, you know, made it to a professional athlete status. You've gone way beyond that. And that is, a lot to look at, I'm sure, as far as, those blessings go. But what does that look like compared to, I mean, I can't imagine the people that you competed against and the talent, but to take it to that next level, it's a whole different story.
Yeah, it really is. In the midst of it, when you look back over your life period, you're going to look at things from a different lens. You do. You're able to now broaden the scope of what it is you accomplished. So I'm able to do that on this end of it. When you're in it and you're doing it and you're grinding, I can't necessarily say that when I wake up in the morning and I do my daily routines, my daily disciplines, as I woke up, specific things that I do every day, I still do them to this day. Pray, read, meditate, journal, specific things that I do every day. I can't tell you that I was thinking about the magnitude of the job of the NFL. I was singularly focused on, okay, how can I bring the best version of me to dominate this day? To be specific on the specific things I need to do in practice or in the meeting room, specific notes I need to take from the coaches, what things that they're saying that I need to work on. What am I being honest when I look at film to say I need to work on? So it's broken down all the way to that point that I'm detailing my work every doggone day, making sure that I'm doing it with a specific attitude, with a specific effort. I'm a pullback person. That means you have to tell me to slow down, not speed up. Learn that from my dad. And so that's how I approached everything still to this day. So when I'm doing that and I'm going to be the best version of myself, and we learned this, and I just learned this to say it like this in our TIR class, is I stopped competing and I really, 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 really start creating. I started creating. I really did. Now, in the beginning of it, I did compete with specific individuals because competition, a healthy competition, is actually a good thing. Like if you go to the park and you're playing whatever you play, racquetball or table tennis, you're competing against that other person. So that person helps bring out the best in you, right? So the competition when it's healthy, it's actually a good thing, actually a great thing when you're talking about a team atmosphere, because if we're competing against the offense, we actually are competing against one another to bring the best out of one another. But when you get to a point where you begin to create, and that's what I was blessed to do in Philadelphia, I was creating a completely different position of safety than had been shown, not just me, blessed, Jim Johnson was allowing me to create a completely different position that had ever existed when I was start playing, right around my third year. The reason why I say that is because of how Jim used me and how effective that was, a position was changed. So other guys began to be drafted in that thinking, to be used in that way. I'm not saying that it was all me. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that the vision of Jim and the skill set and the work ethic that I have allowed that to happen. All that being said, because that happened that way, because my mindset was to work on those small things like I was doing, then year after year, the success happens. Pro Bowl happened. Not just Pro Bowl, then All Pro began to happen. And then that just happens year after year after year, because my mindset is to not relax. It's to not just chill on my success, to almost look at success. Let me say it like this. Anytime that I got a contract, I worked harder, because once I got that contract, my mindset, okay, now it's time to get the next one. As soon as I signed that deal, my mindset was, I'm going to get this next contract. What do I need to do? So I need to go back into my thoughts. Okay, what are the things I need to work on? Do I need to do things extra different in the off seasons? Do I need to look at the way that the exercise community is advancing in technology, hyperbaric chambers, start using more resistance bands, So now I'm ahead of the curve because I'm thinking outside of the box. I'm not doing just what the team tells me to do. The the defensive coordinator, or the strength conditioning coach. I'm not just doing what they tell me to do. I'm thinking outside of that, because once again, what am I doing? I'm creating. I'm no longer just looking at what everybody else is doing. Yes, I love Ed. I love Troy Polamalu. I love them dudes. Yes, I did. You know, you do look at them. I did, and I appreciate the position. So I hype them up, right? I love them. I love the fact that the safety position turned to what it turned into when I was in there. But I'm not necessarily competing against them. I'm competing to bring out the absolute best that I have inside of me, creating something completely different than could be, that has ever been, especially in Philadelphia, but around the National Football League. Now the position has changed, that you see a lot more individuals being drafted in the mold that they told me was too small. I didn't say this in the beginning. When I came into the National Football League, I was told that I was a tweener. They didn't know if I could make it. I was going to play corner. Could I play safety? Were you going to play slot corner? You may just have to play special teams. That's what I was being told. So my not having a true niche was a bad thing when I came out. I'm like, I thought you're supposed to be versatile, right? Now, those versatile guys are pluses. Because the way that I see it, that individual who thinks outside of the box, and take yourself out of position of sports now, and just think about it in your profession. That individual that thinks outside of the box, that's not welded into just one niche, and I can only do this. Not saying that you can't be successful in that, because guys do. They are successful. Some of them are very successful doing one thing. But for those individuals that are talented, gifted, and can think outside of the box to then have the ability to do a lot of different things, that person becomes someone that's playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. That's the way that I see it. So let me stop talking and let you ask me more questions. You get already hyped.
No, it makes sense. And you mentioned TIR, which is a Bob Proctor, put on program by showing how to think into results with, different dynamics of mindset, and really what we look at. And a lot of this, and a lot of the interviews and, people that I get blessed to speak with, have a very, very strong mindset. You talk a little bit about creating and thinking outside of the box. I've always been a firm believer in real estate. I usually train outside of the industry, and that's why, I got involved with this program. Some of the training's great. Some of the training, you look at and it's experience and you can evolve from.
Right.
Same thing when it comes to coaches. And coaches, and that word is thrown around very loosely in the business environment. I think on the overall now, you said that you've had some great coaches. Can you take us inside what a great coach really looks like for you a little bit further, and what that meant to you as you came up into your success?
So those blessed individuals that I talked about, the mindset that I developed. So I've had different coaches, and some coaches that I considered to be good coaches brought out some good in me. And some that I considered to be, one in particular that was actually, to me, was a bad coach, but he brought out something tremendous in me. So that particular coach was someone that coached under the Bobby Knight mold. So he loved Bobby Knight. He was Coach Hump. And his whole philosophy was negative reinforcement, period. Negative reinforcement. And it was to the point I began to understand his psyche. So that if he says nothing to you, that means you're doing good. Now, that's really not the way it's supposed to work. It's supposed to work if you're doing well. Okay, wow, great job. That's a great job. I like specifically you doing this thing. These are some of the better coaches that I've had. They make sure that they point out the specific thing that you did to not just help you out, but help everybody out. Because once you coach one, this, everybody's listening, so you can coach them all from that. But that's not him. He was a negative reinforcement dude. But because of the mindset that I had developed from my father, so doing some of the things that he pushed me into doing or encouraged me to do differently with my attitude when I was playing, when I was younger, I was not going to quit. So it's nothing that he was going to do that can make me quit. So we ran so much. Oh my goodness, we ran more than the track team. I literally had to take my shoes off when running because my feet was hot. I literally had to put, as long distance runners, and I actually had to look this up. Long distance runners put bandages on their nipples because they get chafed from the jersey or the shirt rubbing. I had to do that because I was getting chafed because we were running so much. We were running so much in practice that we wouldn't touch the ball sometimes. He would just run us the whole practice because we kept messing up. And then he would say, all right, see you tomorrow. So because I'm not going to quit, because I'm going to have a good attitude, I'm going to push, and I'm going to always be the first guy running laps, what he developed in me was a mindset that says you cannot break me. So if I learned that early, I learned that, and this was in high school. And once that mindset is set in you and you believe in it, there's nothing nobody else after that can do that can break me. I don't care what you do in college. I don't care what you run. What conditioning test you want to run? Got it. You can't do nothing to me because this dude couldn't break me, right? So from a good perspective, this is what he taught me. From a bad, I'll never treat people the way he treated them. I will congratulate people and I will help people along the right way. That's where Emmett came in. Emmett Thomas was my defensive back coach when I got to Philadelphia. And what Emmett did is Emmett saw something in me that I did not see. I saw myself as a guy that was, just hustle. I'm a hustle guy. I'm a hustle. I'm an effort guy, effort guy, athletic. That's what I do, right? He saw me specifically as someone that can be used as a chess piece. That's why Emmett drafted me. That's why Philadelphia drafted me. So that because I can do all of these different things. But here's what Emmett blessed me with. He blessed me with a vision of what I could be. Because Emmett saw the Hall of Famer in me. He saw the All-Pro in me. I did not. I just saw someone trying to make the team, trying to make some money for my family, right? He saw something different. So he and Ray Rhodes, my coaches back in the day, they really got after me to do things differently, to think differently, to stop just thinking about good. You made the tackle, good, but you should have made the interception. This is what you should be looking for. This is the skills that you have. So they wouldn't let me settle for just good. And when I say not let me settle, that means they would get on my behind and chew me out when I don't go and be aggressive and use my athleticism. And so, and my nickname back then was Baby Boy. So they would call me Baby Boy, right? So they were like my uncles. They were both of them African Americans as well. So they took me back to my neighborhood days of being coached by those that looked and talked like me, to be honest with you. When they talked to me, when they helped me out in the way that they helped me, what they did is they raised my awareness of what was in me. I believed in someone else's vision of me until I could then understand what they were saying and then develop a vision for myself. That's what they did. That took right around two to three. Into that third year, I began to really see what it is that I can be and then some. And so when Jim Johnson came in, when he saw what they had developed, the dude that was a weapon waiting to be unleashed, he created a position that did not exist. So that's how Weapon X came into existence, because of Jim Johnson's utilizing what Ray and Emmett brought out of me, right? So these are just some of the coaches, real quickly, that helped me do different things, helped me develop different mindsets, bring different things to the surface. And like I said, with Jim, he literally had a defense going through the safety. A safety, think about that. That is unheard of. The defense literally ran through me, my disguises, my ability to move over the field, blitzing, coverage. We would blitz corners because he knew I can cover receivers. So all of those things came from him looking at the talent level and mindset that Emmett and Ray developed. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. Total sense. They're bringing out the best in you. And when we talk about Weapon X, and for those of you that are on today, and for others that may not have been a huge fan of football or been hiding under a rock in the last 20 years anyways, Weapon X is your alter ego, was your alter ego on the field. we've had good conversation. I've certainly heard, a little bit more. And for anyone that wants to really dive into Brian's story of football life, is just a phenomenal show that showcases the most legendary players of all time. But we've talked a little bit about transformation. It's another word that's thrown around a lot in any industry.
Yeah.
You brought that word to a whole new level, on the field. But you've told me a little bit about your preparation to get to that point and leading up to game day. That maybe you can share that, because I think that in any industry, people need to recognize that the repetition and doing the things and getting into that right frame of mind is what's going to lead us to that moment of success when it's the most crucial. And I think that a lot of us can all go back to, learning or revisiting that discipline. Sometimes we lose it, but take us through that transformation that, you did so well.
That transformation, first of all, I knew that I can do it. That's the first thing. You have to first know that something is inside of you. You have to first know. If you do not know it, then it'll happen sporadically. If you know that it's in you to do, you'll do it. You'll know when it's time to turn it on and do whatever it is you need to do in that moment. The leading up to that game day persona was a lot of repetition, like you spoke. Not just practice physically, but mental rehearsals, mental envisionings, mentally seeing how they're going to use me this week. So after I've recovered from the Monday game, I'm still recovering from Monday game. I've already been to watch some film and then doing massages and things like that to get the past game out of me. My stretching, hydration, all of those things, my IVs, fluids, and all of those things, a mineral IV fluids to replenish myself. That's Monday into Tuesday. And then when we get to Wednesday, now I've already have an understanding of the team we're about to play, but now I'm listening to the coach. I'm listening to the coach tell me, okay, so what are we going to do against this team? What are we expecting them to do against us? But more importantly, here's what we're going to do with you. So I'm listening keenly. Okay, so how are they thinking about using me this game, my talent, my skill set? So I can take ownership of the information. I can take ownership, because once again, the position is mine. It's no longer a free safety position. I didn't say this. I didn't consider myself to be a free or a strong safety. I was a freelance safety. You can't pigeon me into one of those positions. I could do all of those things. So when you give me the information, I've learned to do this with everything now. I take it and I take ownership of it. I take ownership of the information. It's no longer Jim Johnson's defense that he's given me. He's given me this information. I know the end result that he would like to see come from this position or this specific defense that he's calling. But in my mind, I'm thinking outside of the box once again. I'm saying, okay, I see how he wants it to be done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the envelope, go full speed in practice every game, every time he calls it. And I'm going to challenge it or do other things to see if I could do it better than what he just told me. That's the preparation. So that's how I'm taking notes. The why are we doing this? What am I supposed to do? And now I'm taking ownership of that information. Now, from a mental standpoint though, every morning I told you guys, well, I haven't told you, but I pray, read, and meditate every morning. So I have a schedule of what I do, but in that meditation state or time in the mornings, sometimes it's even as I'm driving to work, I'm visualizing the success I'm going to have that day. I'm visualizing the successive meetings and taking the copious notes, taking the specific notes in such a way as I can then teach them to somebody if they ask me. Those are the type of notes that I'm talking about. I'm thinking about, what's the energy that I'm going to bring when I walk into the building? Like I want to be someone that invites you to smile. When you see me coming, you're going to smile, right? I don't want you to be like, oh man, doggone it. There go dog. No, I don't want that energy to exude. I want you to see, even if I call you on your phone and you see my name come up, I want you to be like, oh man, that's B. I want to, hey, I know he got something good for me. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm getting myself prepared to present into the facility. So that's during the whole week. And I'm taking time out later in the day. I always leave time slotted for me to talk to somebody. If it be a teammate who needs a little comforting on something, he may be going on something, having something going on in his life. So I'll sit down with them if they need to, sometime in the hot tub or in the steam room. We'll just chat it up. And in those moments, I became, like you mentioned about that coach. I didn't know it. Thought I was just helping a brother out. But that's what I was doing. I was life coaching in some of these instances. So some of the things that I was going to be doing afterwards, I was actually doing during my time of playing. But back to the Weapon X. So what all of this is doing, though, is giving me absolute peace of mind. Peace of mind is giving me the understanding that when game day comes, I can unleash everything that I have on this field. I have nothing. I have no toxicities in me. I don't have no worries. When it comes to my assignments, I've helped recreate some of the positions, so it's 100% mine. So I'm excited about that, right? Mm-hmm. I don't have any limits that I can think of when it comes to the things I'll be able to do on the field. And because I'm sleeping, I'm hydrating, I'm taking my supplements that I take. I didn't mention this before. I still do this. We as a family still do this to this day. We get our blood drawn twice a year, and we send it to our naturopath out in Arizona. And then he looks at it, goes down and see what's what, and he prescribes different natural things for us to take, depending on where you are. Usually my vitamin D is usually always low. So I'm always taking a whole bunch of vitamin D. So just simple things like that. But my point is, when I reach the game day, because I've taken care of all of these details, when I get to the game, I can give you everything that I got, not what I have left. See, some of my teammates gave me what they had left. I know that now, because they were out doing stupid stuff on Fridays. They would go out drinking and doing stuff. They weren't stretching. They weren't really giving it all, or something. They were doing those things, but they had family issues. They had trouble at the house with their mom or with their wife, and that was tugging at parts of them. So they can only give us what they had left. And that was one of the reasons that I would leave that time slot so I can help somebody. If I felt it, and when you walk past me and I see that look on your face and it's not what I usually see, hey, everything good with you? You need to talk. So I did this because I loved and I cared about them, but I also did it from a selfish place too, right? Because if I can help this cat out, and if I can help him get an answer to that problem he has at home, he'll be able to give me more on game day, right? Right. So from a selfish place, it was a little selfish, just a little bit of selfish there. But when game day came, I can give you everything. So that's why I was so exuberant on the field. That's why I was yelling and screaming and partying and praying and just having a good time, man, because I'm about to light this thing up. I know what I'm about to do. I've already seen it. I've already envisioned. I've already played the game at least 2 times in my mind. So I know what's about to happen. So why wouldn't I be excited about it? Why wouldn't I be jacked up about that? And as Wolverine said, I'm the best at what I do, but what I do ain't nice. And that's what I would say to myself. I'm the best at what I do, but what I do ain't nice. So I was doing some things from a neurological standpoint, brain science standpoint. I didn't know, but I was doing it. How I was programming my brain, how I was priming myself for game day. I was doing all of these things back then. I didn't know that I was doing rewiring my brain. I know now because I've been studying it, but I didn't know that back then. So that's where I am in this space I'm in now, to help other people understand how they can take ownership of information, reword it in such a way as it creates a neural pathway in their minds so that they can just go out and just dominate, just allow that different version of themselves to be in different areas, but it's still you. So when I stepped onto the field, that was not a different person. It was just another part of me, another part of the energy that I have to offer, to exude in a different way. That's all it was. I was using my energy in a different way. That's all it was.
So I want to dive into that, because as you go through your week leading up to that, and I get questions all the time for people that I work with me or coach with me about, the clients are taking up too much of their time, or, the people that are in their lives are, affecting, their productivity and things like that. You're talking about doing all these things plus helping other human beings along the way, yet you're the most celebrated Philadelphia Eagle in history. And so how do you create boundaries is, I think, the key word there. And how do you do it among all of that? Because that's on another level.
And it was a lot. Let me tell you, it was a lot. I could tell you that there were times that I would come home and my wife wasn't too pleased at coming home so late, because I was spending sometimes helping some teammates out, right? So that was always a balancing thing for me, to your point. And sometimes I didn't do a good job of that. I did not do a good job of that. So I will tell you, I'll raise my hand and say, yes, I didn't always do a good job of that. The nature of my heart is to give, is to care. Like, I do care about my teammates. To this day, I care about every last one of them. Everyone that I was able to help, even if they didn't ask me to help, if I could help, I would help. I cared about the organization, like the Philadelphia Eagles. And that's why it was so hard for me when I went to Denver. It's because I truly considered myself I consider that to be my team. I took ownership of the team, right? I didn't own it. Don't get me wrong. I didn't pay nothing. But my point is, I truly took ownership of it. It was literally my spot. And so when you look at it through those lenses, you tend to sometimes lean too far in one way or the other. And sometimes I did lean too far into spending too much time doing things, prioritizing, helping, blessing other individuals than I did at the house. So that was something that, again, over the years, I got better and better at, and to the point that I got a real good balance, because to your point, I had to then create those boundaries, right? So when it's time for me to spend time with my family, I'm spending time with my family. So I didn't spend a lot of time doing things with the guys outside of football. That's because when I'm with my family, I'm with my family. I did do different things to make sure that I did come home on specific nights earlier. So let's say on Thursday was a long day, and I knew it was going to be a long day. So Thursday would be a day that I would truthfully make sure that I'm talking to as many people as possible if they needed it, right? Wednesday, not so much. If you need it, I'm gonna spend some time, but there's a boundary that I put in, because I already know that this day is gonna be longer. I'm gonna make it a little longer by doing more this day than I do on other days. Friday, I'm getting in and out as quickly as possible to get home to spend time with my wife and my kids. So you can create those boundaries, and you can create those timetables in your schedule like you already do. We already have schedules. You can put things in your schedule. Matter of fact, I would offer for people, if you don't already do this, and many professionals do, put time in your schedule for you. Take time in your schedule and put yourself in the schedule book. Like, literally put your name in the schedule book and block off 10, 15, 30 minutes. And whatever you then come up with in that 30 minutes, you do it, whether it's meditation, whether it's just thinking. This term came to me last year, metacognition, the idea of thinking about thinking. Just thinking about your thinking process. And in the midst of thinking about your thinking process, thinking about, okay, so where did I develop the way that I think? Was it from a good place or a bad place? If it's from a bad place, I think I might want to change that. So I'll do some things to change that mindset. But in the midst of that, I can then go to the next thing. Okay, so what are the things that I need to really be thinking about right now? Like, what vision do I have? What's been something that's really been eating at me that I can unpack right now? Because sometimes during the day, you can't unpack negative thoughts. These are also a time that you can use to unpack those negative thoughts, so that you can unpack them. That negative thought that constantly comes back, you can then get a piece of paper and write down all the things that keeps coming to your mind. So I can unpack. So why am I having this doggone thought? Why is it so consistent? What's the root of this thing? Now, if you need help with that, then that's when you pick up the phone and you call some people that you have, hopefully in your sphere already. I call them my blessed pack. I have a blessed pack of individuals. Reason why I say blessed pack, because I love the wolf analogy to that. Like we're all hunting, we're all going in the same direction, right? And we hold one another accountable. But at the same time, wolves do a great job of not leaving their elders and the weak behind. They do a good job of keeping everybody together. So I can call one of these cats up and we can have a conversation if I can't handle it. And if they can't help me, then I can get professional help. But if it's something simple, general, I can deal with it during that time, during those 30 minutes. So long story being short, I know I went long-winded on that answer. It's very important to take time out of the day for yourself. And that's just for thinking. Now, if there's other things that you have going on, when was the last time that you really took time out to really self-care? You know, get you a massage when we can get massages, I guess, again. Get a manicure, pedicure, you know, do some of those type of things. On top of working out, I work out every day. So that's a self-care I do every day. But the part that I'm talking about right now is just taking that time out of the day for yourself. It's extremely important. Prioritizing your thoughts, your thinking, and the way you think is extremely important.
How do you distance yourself from negativity? Because I see that one of the guests posed that question. You know, there's a love of the game and doing the right things, but sometimes that negativity just creeps up and it just keeps coming at us. What advice do you give to that? I know that there's, you know, some great references to naysayers and things like that, but I know a number of challenges that, you know, professional athletes face with negativity both on and off the field. How do you distance yourself from that or deal with it?
So I played in Philadelphia. If people don't know that, like I played in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So Philadelphia is one of the roughest places when it comes to just living, right? Like especially for sports athletes. It's a specific type of individual can have success in Philadelphia.
I've been in that airport once.
It does not have to, he or she does not have to be the absolute best, but there's a specific mindset that person has to have in order to have success. This is just my humble opinion, right? This is me. This is Brian Dawkins talking here. So I understand that there's going to be things that are going to be said. It's a couple of things that I've developed in my life. One of them came all the way going back to Pop Warner. I didn't say it like that then. I'm saying it like this now because I have it. I understand it like this now. So Bruce Lee says something, a quote that blesses me, that I think about. Says that basically said that you take in what's good, you spit out what's bad, and you add what's uniquely you. That's the quote. That's what you have to do sometimes. When you're getting coached by someone in my neighborhood that was using a bunch of curse words, you filter the bad, you take in the good, and then you add you. You add your uniqueness to whatever it is that they suggested, and you make the changes. So I've had to do that since I was little. So when I got to Philadelphia, it was no big deal. Like if you say something, okay, that's your opinion up, cool. Now, it wasn't that calm. If you say something that I truly didn't like, what it became logs to my fire, Jack. So you just gave me some logs for my dog on fire. You just said, well, you said what? Okay, and I'm not gonna talk to you like this about it. When I hear it, I'll just, okay. But that's a log, that's on my fire. Mm-hmm. So when I'm working out or when I'm doing something or I'll go back to that thought. I'll go back to that thought in a good way to allow it to fuel my fire, right? So you can do it that way. As I got older, I began to see it like this. When people offer an offense or they give you an offense, what is the terminology we use when it comes to the offense? It says we have to take offense, right? We have to take offense. As I thought about it deeper, that means that there's offense offered, but I have to take it. That means that I can leave it right there. I can leave offense right there. I don't have to indulge into it.
Mm-hmm.
It can go in one ear and right out of the other without getting into this thing, into my heart. See, that's what those negative thoughts get to us, is when they get to our heart. Thoughts are going to come into our head. We have to understand that. Negative thoughts, they say, neuroscience are saying anywhere from 60 to, I've heard it up to 100,000 thoughts, right, per day, right? You're going to have thoughts, but you don't have to hold on to them. You don't have to meditate on them. And by teaching yourself different practices, mindfulness practices, breathing exercises, when you teach yourself these things, what it allows you to do is it allows you to immediately allow that thought to pass by.
Mm-hmm.
And then you replace it with something of gratitude, or you replace it with something of high character, high quality, something worthy of praise, something to make you smile or laugh. Your brain can't occupy two thoughts at the same time. So the minute you begin to really put emotion into that other positive thought, that other thought just drifts away. But this other thought, though, we're not telling you to stuff it and don't deal with it. That's where those 30 minutes come in. So in that 30 minutes, that's when you unpack that negative thought that continues to come back. Because what I didn't do a good job of, is one of the reasons I got into the depression and suicidal thoughts, is because I was just packing stuff in.
Mm-hmm.
A thought would come, it's negative, pack it in. No, I'm a man. You don't cry. We don't talk about stuff. We don't. That's not what we do. We just stuff it. We just deal with it. We just build more calluses. It's gonna make you tough. No, what it was doing was making me crazy. That's what it was doing. It was literally making me unhinged. And so at some point I had to deal with those things, but usually what happens is you have to deal with them after you've exploded on somebody, after you've released all of this built up anger over this little small thing about not putting your clothes in the hamper. And you explode all of this other anger on this person. Usually it's a loved one. And you're like, wow, you serious? So I had to do something about that. So that is why I've come up with different ways of handling stuff. There's not just one way, there's many different varieties in my toolbox, so to speak, that I can use. It reminds me, I've really been doing this for a while now. When I have options, it takes me to the 80s of RoboCop. Anybody remember RoboCop, the movie? So when RoboCop would have a suspect would come, or someone who just approaches him, they would be, it would come up or say suspect, good person, blah, blah. So those are the options that comes up on my thoughts. This is how my mind sees it. Okay, this is okay. That I'm going to get after this person, let it pass by, think of gratitude. So you see what I'm saying? So I remove myself from the emotion, from the event, and I'm seeing it through RoboCop's eyes so that I can make that positive, informed decision, not an emotional decision, an informed decision. Does that make sense?
Brilliant. That's a great analogy of doing that. I think that'd be so good for, even teaching our young ones and children, those types of tools that they just don't learn in school these days,
No, they don't learn any of that stuff. And that's why it's unique to me to explain these things to my kids. I am someone that's very simplistic when it comes to information. I want to break that thing down to almost like baby food. Like I want to have that baby food type of information if I can, because I can digest it easier. Because the easier I can digest it, the easier I can explain it. And if I can then break it down in terms that I can understand it, I'll provide that same, that's why I'm giving you guys the same, I'm giving you how my brain works. I'm telling you, I'm giving you how my brain works. Wolverine and cartoons are such a huge part of my life still to this day. Truth be told, I will watch at least 30 minutes to an hour of cartoons every day. Something every day. Because I want to keep the child in me vibrant. Mm-hmm. I want to keep the child in me so fun and carefree, because in that child is also my imagination. Because that is when our imaginations were at their greatest, was when we were children. So I want to keep that kid in me healthy, alive, vibrant, so I can laugh at myself when I make a mistake. instead of being an adult who does not want to jump in a puddle, right? Jump into a puddle of water. Adults will jump in puddles of water. We walk around them. But the kid will see that as, oh, look at that. I can't wait to jump in that, right? I want to keep that about myself. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to be jumping around in puddles. My point is, I'll be able to allow myself to not hurt my chances of having a productive meeting by being too strict and strenuous on my verbiage, on my making mistake. If I make a mistake in a motivational setting or giving a speech, I'm going to laugh. I'm going to chuckle at myself and say, all right, calm down, dog, calm down. And then I go back, because in that moment, I'm going back in a pleasant mood, not an angry, upset, punishing myself mindset. No, that's not effective communication, in my opinion. I still want to be in a place that people cannot just hear what I say. Hear this. I don't want them to just hear what I say. I want them to feel what I say. So someone can, and my wife has let me know this on many occasions. You can say one thing, but your body is saying a completely different thing. Mm-hmm. Your body and your facial expression is saying something completely opposite of what you're saying. So and in that case, the person is not listening to your words. They're looking at your body. Mm-hmm. And your body and your words are not matching up. So again, that's where the kid comes out. Allow the kid to stay out so that we can continue to communicate and have that imagination, yes, but also have that I won't say playful, but a more of a enjoyable time. I just use enjoyable time.
So good. I guess that's where my partner, she always says, how are you? And I'll say, fine. And she's like, I can feel that you're not fine. She can feel it on me.
Yep.
Yeah, it's that same thing.
Yep.
So I want to ask a quick question on mindset and visualization. And I'd like to have our audience know a little bit more about Beyond the Field and, Brian Dawkins, philanthropist, and some of the things that you're doing. But did you visualize yourself walking onto the NFL Hall of Fame stage before it happened?
How far in advance?
I don't know. You tell me.
How far?
Because we've had conversations where you talked about, the ESPN, music going off before a big play and things like that. But I didn't ask about the Hall of Fame, because that's in a very, very elite, small group of individuals that I don't think people truly realize.
Now, and I'll tell you that there's parts of my vision of my dream that I dreamed, that I've seen myself making specific plays, seeing myself making it to the NFL, having a measure of success in the NFL. But I will tell you, it wasn't until I began to get ready, close to retirement, that I began to think about myself as a Hall of Famer. Mm. I will tell you that. So the way that I say it and the way that it speaks to me is that, like, when it comes to that, I'm living somebody else's dream, because I didn't dream this big. I did not dream big enough to be a Hall of Famer. I believe that the way that I handled myself as a professional, as a person, my character, I wanted my character to be the loudest thing that speaks for me. Mm-hmm. Because I handled myself the way that I handled myself, then those things that I was doing, the way that I was handling myself, the way that I was treating people, giving to people, all of those things allow the Hall of Fame to then come into existence. But that was not something that I said, yeah, I'm going to be a Hall of Famer. It just, I can be honest, I did not. I thought that was for other people. I'll be honest with you. I did not see myself as that. To this day, still, it's hard for me to see that. Like, when I look at that, that's still hard for me to see. Mm-hmm. That's, for those of you who don't know, they keep a bus in Canton, and this is the one that they made for me for my house. It's still hard for me to truly believe that I did that this little dude from Jacksonville, Florida, who nobody thought was going to be able to do anything, is a doggone Hall of Famer. And not just a Hall of Famer, a Hall of Famer that has the character and charisma, to know that that was just the platform for me to go into the next thing that God has for me.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk about that for a second, because you retire from the NFL, and then you spend some time in, you know, the executive side of things, and go win a Super Bowl with the organization. When do you determine what's next? Because I know that in any high level of success, in any area where people hit these, you know, peak dream careers, a lot of times there can be a big crash, right? Because it's what's next. How did you determine what's next, and then move into that space of, you know, leading, serving, inspiring others way beyond, you know, being off the field as well?
So that this question goes back to those 4 things that I do every morning. I've added other things. There's other things that I do, but these are the primary. I do these every morning. I pray, I read, I meditate, and I journal. That's what I do every morning. Different times, different subjects. So I'm being led during that. It's not just me talking, me praying. I'm also listening to my heart, listening to, you know, my relationship, my vertical relationship spiritually. I'm listening. And one of the reasons I decided to retire, when I decided to retire, is because I had prayed about it for years, So give me the peace in my heart when it's time for me to hang it up. Just give me peace. And when that peace hit me, that peace happened even when Peyton Manning came to be with the Broncos. I still had a peace. Now that's Peyton we're talking about. Came into the Broncos. I'm like, wait a minute. So what I did, I'm not gonna lie, I took another month of praying. I said, to make sure. I wanted to make sure. Well, is this, you sure? Are you sure? I mean, Peyton coming now. So, but that peace stayed. And the voice that consistently has hit me throughout this whole journey to this place where I'm now stepping into was, you know, you're supposed to be doing more, right? You know, you're supposed to be doing more. So even when I was a coach, coaching my sons back in Denver, helping coach them, back in Denver, one of them, I only have one son, helping him back in Denver, spending time with him. When I was an NFL analyst for about 3 years, that voice kept hitting me, you know, you're supposed to be doing more, right? You know, you're supposed to be doing more, right? But I got comfortable. I'm not gonna lie, I got comfortable. Come on, we're talking about football, something that I know, and getting paid for it. All right, cool, let's do it. So the Lord closed that door. He absolutely closed that door. I said, okay, so what is it? What is it I'm supposed to be doing? Mm-hmm. And so the thirst and the hunger went back to Philadelphia. And I had a fire for Philadelphia, not just for Philadelphia, the city, but to go back and to do something specific in the building to help with the culture. And that's what I was blessed to come back as an executive. I was blessed to come back as an executive without a title. That's what I asked for. I do not want a title. I don't want to be pigeonholed into anything. So I was blessed to come back without a title. And basically I was able to walk into offices and just talk to people, share, listen, share, and then encourage different individuals, especially in leadership roles, to think about leadership differently, to think about doing things differently, to exercise in themselves in different ways. I also had to help them think about, especially players, think about the significance of accountability, which was lacking. Ooh, it was bad. So helping in that way. Life coaching. Again, I didn't know it was that, but that's what I was doing a lot of life coaching in that building. When we won the Super Bowl, the hunger, that fire, it left. And that voice said, you're supposed to be doing more. I said, okay. So that's the first time that I have cut the umbilical cord, so to speak, from football. Mm-hmm. First time since 11 years old. First time I was doing absolutely nothing that has nothing to do with football. Because ESPN was talking about football, right? I was executive. What we were doing? Football. Now, I want you to step out and do something completely different. Philanthropic work, get a foundation, my Brian Dawkins Impact Foundation, to helping people, bless as many people as possible with the hope, resources, and whatever else they need in order for them to get out of the situations that they find themselves in. single moms being the main beneficiary of it, but also from a mental health perspective, mental wellness, the programs that we provide for high schools. So those are the things, that is what we are doing right now. We jumped into the giving phase of what I'm supposed to be doing by giving these programs or providing these programs for high schools. We have 9 in Jacksonville, where I'm born and raised. And then we just introduced 5 more schools in Philadelphia with the packages, with the cerebral, I call it cerebral wellness. I don't talk about mental health. Real quick, the reason why I don't say mental health is because when you hear mental health, what usually comes to your mind is negativity. And I know that when you talk negatively about yourself, your brain listens and your body responds to that negativity. So even if you're saying mental health, if you're thinking about mental health negatively, once again, your brain is listening, and then your body responds in kind with stress and cortisol and those things. So I call it cerebral wellness. I remove myself from it, no emotions to it, but it's cerebral. More cerebral has to do with more thinking, like the RoboCop, right? It's not a whole bunch of getting more information, not emotional based. Wellness has to do with specific things that you do on a daily basis to be healthy in your mind, your body, and your soul. That's kind of how it works, right? So you put those two together, that's what you have. But that's what we're providing for these high schools. And so as we're doing this thing, this thing is a gift, this ability to speak. I know that now. Motivate people. I've been motivating my teammates and motivating people, but it's not just motivational inspiration. It's deeper than that. It's really helping people see something inside of them that they did not see, that they did not know existed, but was there the whole time, so that they can be, once again, better versions of themselves. So that's where the Beast package comes in. Weapon X Academy, the first program that I'm working on right now is called the Beast program. So the Beast is me kind of reverse engineering what I did in my career, learning what I actually did, how I did it, and I can speak it in a today's version of it, a more updated neuroscience version of it, so that you can be the absolute best person first. Because when you're when you are a better person, when you coach the person, I don't know if I said this already, but if I have not, this is the first time. If I did, I'm going to say it again. When you coach from a football athletics perspective, the person first, you will get a better player. But that same philosophy is in life, period. When you help coach, care for, minister to the person first, you will get a better ... And you put whatever you want to put in that ... That's what this program is about. That's what the Weapon X Academy programs will be about. You understanding how to go about doing things and taking ownership of the information or ownership of your cerebral wellness and training your brain. I'm gonna give you this little glimpse into it. Your mind, the way that I see it, is your mentality instructing neural director. That's your mind. And we know people say we have 4 minds, but listen, it's your mentality instructing, the way you think, your thinking process, instructing neural directed, your nervous system. So that's what your mind is. That's what your mind is. And so when you become friends with a term, or when you are able to better understand a term, you're better able to follow that term or that idea. What I mean by that is, if me and you weren't friends, there's no way I would come on here. If it was something about you I was not vibing with, I wouldn't have come on here. But because there's something about you that's vibing with me, cool, I'll come on there. So I'm following, so I'm coming on, and we're being able to do some good things together. It's the same thing with things in our lives. Your mind, if you have a bad image comes to your thought process when it comes to your mind, how likely are you going to want to do anything when it comes to mental awareness? Very little. Same thing with your past. If you have a bad relationship with your past, you're not going to bring good things from it like we're supposed to. Same thing with your future. You have horrible visions about what your future is going to be. You're not excited about tomorrow. You're not excited about getting up today, right? So in that program is how, once again, my brain, my mind wraps around and have made friends with terms like mind, past, present, future, goals, plans, even visions. All of those things I'm friend, like they're good friends. My last thing, and I'll be quiet. The last thing is I've even made friends. Now we're not hanging out every day, don't get me wrong, but we're good friends. Pain is a good friend of mine. Pain is a good friend of mine, because I know when pain comes, the majority of the success I've had in my life have come at the back end of pain. So I know when pain comes, I'm supposed to be learning something in it. So my question to myself is, okay, this thing is not comfortable. I don't like this right now. What am I supposed to be learning? So in those 30 minutes that I'm sitting down doing that thinking, that's one of the things I'm thinking about. What am I supposed to be learning in this thing? What am I learning that's going to bless me going forward? Because I'm going to be wiser going forward because of this pain that I'm feeling, this discomfort. And because I work out all the time, I understand the significance of being in uncomfortable situations and getting stronger because of it. So again, once you make friends, become acquaintances, not good friends. I don't want to be my best friend. No, I don't want you all around me all the time. No, you can stay wherever you are and you come visit every once in a while. But again, I've made friends with him. He's a good friend of mine, not a good friend all the time. But when he comes, I know I'm going to be stronger because of it.
So good. So good. Where will people be able to find the Weapon X program? And is it for everybody? Is it for a certain demographic? I mean, I know if you're going big. So what? Yeah,
so we're in the planning processes of that question, because I wanted it to be for those individuals. I consider myself to be, I did a podcast today, and they would ask me what would I want on my, like a tombstone. And this is the response that I gave them. A blessed man of God, a man who lived with purpose on purpose, a passionate overcomer who humbly yet boldly blessed others with increase in many different forms. That would speak volumes for me. So the passionate overcomers, that's who I want. Those individuals who've had to overcome in their lives, who've fallen short in different areas in their lives, who are looking of how they can go to the next level and continue to go to other levels, not just stop there, but develop the mindset to go to that level, yes, but increase, to go to another level. After you've gotten to that level, you do the same practices again, boom, at the next level, and then the next level. But the whole time, you're thinking about your why. And if your why does not include others, then I would advise you to go rethink your why. Your why needs to be including other people, not just people in your family. Yes, that includes my family. I want them to have success too. But this is something way bigger than that. This is way bigger than that. And when you reach out for things that are much bigger than you can do by yourself, that's what you need to be going after. That's what you need to be going after. So that's where this Beast program is coming into, and there are going to be other ones after that once I get this one done. And BrianDawkins.com is my website. You'll be able to see my foundation's work, the things that we're just implementing again this year and expanding into single moms programs this year in Jacksonville and Philadelphia. And yeah, be on the lookout for that, the Weapon X Academy, the Beast program.
We will post this. I'm going to have this edited and put out to my audiences as well. So, man, you talk about increase. Every time I get to speak with you or listen to you, you leave increase. And I think that I can safely say that is the same for the people that were blessed to spend time with you today.